Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northern Lion Blaze, the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It's weird to open a video and be like, we don't have a streak to talk about. It's also weird to random and be like, if we get the loss, that's completely okay with me. Maggie, we have not played as in almost a month. So this should be interesting. Curse of the Labyrinth, 4-6 HG, that's the 46-headed giant. The rare Battle Royale Royal Rumble format of Magic the Gathering, A4H8. This is, it's a good start. I had a great run last run, I had a fun time. Well, that's not true. 2 runs ago, I had a great time on that Lazarus run. Last run, a little bit suspect. Not really my favorite run of all time. Oh my lord. But we managed to win, and you know what? It's a little bit of a feather in our cap, because we could have lost that one. We had probably like a 6 out of 10 run, and we won with it. That's not a huge accomplishment, but it's an accomplishment nonetheless. Mostly I'm happy with this, but we do have some negatives as Maggie related to our seed at the start here. XL floor means we can't go into the curse room right away because we will lose our deal with the devil chance, or at least our best chance at that deal with the devil chance. Fighting Envy right off the bat is just annoying, obviously. And we really need to get a Spirit Heart as soon as possible if we're going to have a good deal with the devil shot. And of course, even with a good deal with the devil shot, you can still end up completely screwing yourself later. Or getting screwed by the RNG, you know, getting 3 red chests pay out with nothing. It's like you buy like a grab bag of movies or something like that. You send your mom to the Blockbuster to rent movies, and you're like, you know, just get whatever you want. And then she comes back with like a Home Alone 3 Tower Heist and Duplex starring Ben Affleck and Drew Barrymore. And you're like, oh, well, guess I should have said, you know, maybe you can get like Adaptation or something like that. Here it's transcendental, but sure, you know, we can watch Home Alone 3 if you want, Mom. You know. But you shouldn't be so hard on your mom for her taste in movies, you know? She's an adult. She's got other things on her mind, you know? She's working. She's taking care of your stupid ass. And then you're like, oh, Mom, I wanted to see Oscar caliber Nicolas Cage nomination vehicle adaptation. It's ungrateful, man. So I do think that the Yum Heart is not good enough. This is a very awkward sentence to express here. I do think that Adaptation is a great movie. One of 2003's finest films for sure. Nicolas Cage is fantastic in it. Meryl Streep as Susan Orlean, awesome, and really put Chris Cooper on the map after a little bit of a period post-American Beauty where he was not really maybe that well known, but maybe I'm just, that's revisionist history, I don't know. It's a weird situation. Apparently the theme of this run is opening the item room but not actually taking what's inside of it. But I will be taking Forget Me Now. I'll probably take Eve's Mascara. That was dangerous. I'll probably take Eve's Mascara because you know, it's like it's like the last piece of pizza. You can't just leave it sitting on the kitchen table. I'm gonna take it. It's just a matter of when. You know, if I can hold out for 15 minutes, that's an accomplishment for us. But, we're going to take that after we finish our boss fight situations on this floor, so that we can actually get a deal with the devil, come back, Forget Me Now, start all over again on floor 1, start back at 1 like Brian McKnight. You guys aren't going to believe this, I was driving yesterday, well, you will probably believe this, and I've been talking a lot about Always on Time with Ja Rule featuring Ashanti, and they played it on the radio. They played a hit song from 2001 on the radio, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad. In the context of my home, sitting down with access to, you know, all music ever created by mankind, Always on Time is not a great song, I think. But in the context of being in a traveling motor vehicle, without any other options at the immediate ready, that's probably not a glowing review for Ja Rule's magnum opus, but it's gonna have to do for now. Okay, we're at 11 cents. And we are not going to take enough damage to lose our deal with the devil. That's just guaranteed at this point. Both Tinted Rocks paid out lovely-ish. That's probably not a real word. You know, lovely-ish. Having the concept of being lovely. What's lovely? Having the attribute of being able to be loved-ish. Please. There we go. We took half a Spirit Heart. That's not even, like, cause for alarm. Took half a Spirit Heart worth of damage, I should say. I gotta admit, I'm only halfway through Cup of Coffee number 1. And then I hold up a picture of a comically sized large mug that I got at like a novelty store in Daytona Beach. What's the matter? I've only had 1 cup of coffee. And then it's just it's a mug that's like 4 liters large. Of course, no, that would be dead. It's like, I heard this anecdote. Apparently, this is what happens when I do a Rebirth episode on half a cup of coffee and I don't have a streak to worry about. I just go into all the anecdotes that I didn't talk about for the past, like, month. A friend of my family, who we hung out with when we were at my ancestral home back in, like, April, told his story. Is like, he had a high school teacher. So we're several layers removed here, but just accept that, and the story may indeed be false. I have no means of fact-checking it, but it's funny nonetheless. He was a retired teacher, and he was British. He was English, if you know what I mean, which is just to say that he's from England, not to insinuate anything further than that. And he liked waking up early on Saturday mornings and watching the Premier League. You know, in Eastern Time Zone, the Eastern Coast of North America, that airs at like 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Sometimes 6 a.m., sometimes 11 a.m., depending on what games it is. And he would always have some drinks with him because, you know, it reminded him of being back home. And for fuck's sake, he worked his whole life. He can do whatever he wants, right? And we will take Sister Maggie, unfortunately. But then his doctor was like, he had like a miniature stroke or something like that. And his doctor was like, all right, you can only have 1 pint per day. You can't continue to, like, get super blackout drunk at like 9 in the morning every Saturday. At your age, especially, you're getting up there. And he's like, all right, yeah, 1 pint, no problem. So then, instead of drinking a lot of beer in the morning, he would just have 1 pint of, like, fortified red wine, which is probably not what the doctor intended. And you know what? I blame that on the man, who I'm sure knew what he was doing. But I also blame that on the doctor for using non-specific nomenclature. That's why I always ask people to get specific. 1 pint. 1 pint of what? 1 pint of milk? 1 pint of alcohol? 1 alcohol unit? Why don't you just be a little bit more specific? It could be 1 pint of motor fuel. You'd have to be an idiot to drink 1 pint of gasoline, probably. Oh, ceremonial robes is nice here. You have to be an idiot to drink 1 pint of gasoline, but there are people who are large enough idiots to think that. So I think as a doctor, it's your responsibility in the Hippocratic Oath to get that under control. Anyway, I'm going to drink some more coffee here. How do I feel about this run? Rate of fire is, like, awful. Just god-awful. But our damage should be great. And you saw, like, our damage stat was really cranked up there. I mean, we have double the damage we used to have, which is good. Because we did have ceremonial robes. No, we didn't pick up... I don't know if it balances on the fly like Libra or what. But we have double the damage that we had when we started, at the very least, which is pretty good. And we had the Halo bonus come in as well. You know, the Master Chief, ditty there. We also got a little bit of a rate of fire increase from the Halo, which is, of course, hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's 4-post bed every morning. Now, if you don't know, that's a Sugar Ray. Only 90s kids will remember Every Morning by Sugar Ray. I got that, the first time I heard that, it was on Now That's What I Call Music. I think it was like Now That's What I Call Music 4, so I'm dating myself a little bit. It might have been Now That's What I Call Music like 7 or 8, though. For a while, they were running parallel to Big Shiny Tunes, but I bought the entire CD, because this is what music purchasing used to be like in the late 90s and early 2000s. I bought the entire CD, because first off, I was like, I'm tired of buying CDs that only have one good single, and then the rest are just filler tracks. So why don't I just skip the middleman and buy all the hits, right? I have no respect for the album as an art form, but also the main reason I bought it was to get Robbie Williams' Millennium, which, you know, I still have a soft spot for that song to this day. I don't know why. It's just, it's evocative of something that I can't quite put my finger on. Not quite as embarrassing as the time I sent my mom to HMV to buy Bewitched's first album. You may remember Bewitched as an Irish answer to the Spice Girls with a French-sounding single for their first major hit, C'est la vie. Now, that song, I mean, I don't really want to get into song analysis, but let's be honest, we're 8 minutes and 45 seconds into the run, and we're still on the first floor. Which is by design, and it's a good thing, but still, we got a lot of time to kill here. C'est la vie is one of those classic girl group songs or, you know, just pop songs from the late 90s and early 2000s that are about sexual intercourse overtly, but they try to hide it in ways that make no sense. Like, this is a love song. It says, "Hey boy, sitting in your tree." All right. Already a little confused. What is this, like a modern retelling of the Tarzan myth or something like that? "Mama always said you want to come for tea." What does this mean? Who or what is tea? It means, does it mean come over for tea, the meal / afternoon break time? "Don't be shy, straighten up your tie, get down from your treehouse sitting in the sky." Is this like Purple Haze all over again? "I want to know just what you do." Now it sounds like she's accusing him of masturbating in a treehouse. "Is it big up there?" And phrasing. "Is there room for two? I've got a house with a window and door." She's saying her house has 2 apertures. Like, this is the way I'm taking it. "I'll show you mine, you show me yours." Oh, previously, many people probably like Northern Line. You are reading way too much into this song, and honestly, it's a little gross. Then at the end, she literally says, "Pull out your dick. I'll show you my vagina." Then the next phrase. I can't believe I remember all this. "Gotta let you in. Hey, hey, hey." And then it's like, "What's the sound today?" or something like that. And then they go, "Hey." And then she says, "I'm the wolf today." And then she says, "Hey," again. And then she says, "I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll blow you away." This is... I had not actually thought this through in my head before going off on the tangent, but we really do have like a little bit more of a before for, you know, if you get down on me, I'll get down on you situation going on here. These songs were dirty, man. And this is why whenever people are like, you know, "Oh, you know, modern music is too focused on intercourse. It's a bad influence for the kids." I'm like, the shit that you listened to was exactly the same. You were just too stupid to realize it at the time. And so kids now, they don't realize it either. Like, if you're like 8 years old and Nicki Minaj is like, "My anaconda," you're like, what is an anaconda? I don't have a frame of reference of Ice Cube, Angelina Jolie, and Jon Voight's classic 1997, you know, disaster film about an enormous snake. I don't know what an anaconda is. It just is a funny word, right? It's all the same, man. Even when the Beatles, you know, "I want to hold your hand," they didn't want to hold your hand. They wanted to hold your hand on their genitals as they were inserted into your body. It's the universal art form, man. Pop music is almost always about intercourse, or it's about the person you had intercourse with now leaving, you know? There's like the love songs and then the love lost songs. Not that I'm implying love is all about intercourse, no, but I'm implying the music is oftentimes about it. Anyway. And it has been for a while, you know. We'll take it back to fucking Gregorian chants. We have finally gotten our 2nd floor again. I can talk about this run. We got so much damage. Monstrose Lung, Eve's Mascara, Ceremonial Robes, Halo, Pentagram now. Incredibly, incredibly slow rate of fire. Like, really, really bad rate of fire. But we also picked up Unicorn Stump, so that's good. You can look that up, by the way. That album, I owned it. And that's how the song goes. I don't remember the 2nd verse, because... I mean, what I do remember is that it was... and this is not me shitting on any culture or anything like that, but there was a period in the song where they did, like, a complete, like, Riverdance-style breakdown, and then started doing, like, Highland dancing, and it had, like, the, like, flute playing in the background. I took Champion Belt over Starter Deck. I did. I'll admit it. And I was like, man, this is awesome. When I was 11, I was like, this is my jam right here. I've never seen anything like this before. Riverdance is all over the place. It's never gonna go away. Not to imply that Highland dancing, you know, is all about Riverdance. I believe Highland dancing might even be Scottish instead of Irish. That's my mistake, but you know, you have to understand that I'm all the way across the Atlantic Ocean here. I'm doing my best to understand. We just picked up the mark again. More damage. Probably should have used Unicorn Stump to handle some of that, but that's okay. It's all the same, man. People they think like Mandy Moore is like squeaky clean, you know. "Oh baby, come to me." It's already, you know what you're saying. That song was written by a 40-year-old man with type 2 diabetes. Don't tell me that that's just teen innocence. "I'm waiting for you. I'm missing you like candy. Yeah, there's implications of eating there is all I'm saying. This is... I've now become like the general from Doctor Strangelove. I'm just paranoid. I think the song's about intercourse. So this is Oh Canada. Ryan, shut up, Grandpa. We're trying to watch the hockey game. Okay. I'm in a silly mood right now, apparently. Oh, this is alright. I mean, this run is very good. Once we get one orbital, it's gonna pop off, man. It's gonna pop off like Diet Coke and Mentos. I initially had a lot more suggestive answers to that metaphor there, but I chose not to go with them. Probably in my best interest. Yeah, okay, so our item room is Game Kid, aka worst version of Unicorn Stump, that occasionally heals us even though we don't need it. And we won't have enough money to get anything from our shop. I want to fight Pestilence. Let me fight Pestilence. Not a battery charge. Really use like Magic Mush or something. Beyond Magic Mush, just any Tears upgrade would go a long way. Let's not say any Tears upgrade. There are some there are some Tears upgrades, maybe they rhyme with Roy Shilk, that I wouldn't necessarily want. Yo, why'd you have to bring Roy Shilk into this, man? Not cool. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the Roy Shilks of the world. I'm just slandering everybody today. Well, we did get Abaddon and Brother Bobby. Guppy's Hairball. It's okay. I mean, the extra damage is fine. At this point, we don't need extra damage. Like, that's... It's hyper non-essential. It's aggressively non-essential. But, I can live with it. I mean, if we're gonna have Rate of Fire take forever, we might as well have enough damage to kill anything in one barrage. And we get a Guppy item, which would actually help out if we could summon some flies that would take a little bit of the onus off of us when we're charging our shot. That would be good. I don't really want to reroll this whole run. I've grown quite fond of it. Man, it's like opening your album with Liquid Swords, and then I'm like, where do I go from there? I mean, I'm not trying to insult, you know, if you're living in the world today, you'd be hearing the slang that the Wu-Tang say. I'm just saying, I'm very proud of that opening. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't know if I can sustain that kind of momentum as we get going here, but I'll do my best. That is a dirty room, and I have no desire to stay in it. If I was on Yelp, I would give that a 2 star. Well, I want to give it a 2 stars. It's a local business, right? But I'd give it 4 stars, okay? But I would be unhappy with it. And I would make that known in my concerns. But I would also say, but, you know, it's a local business. I'm sure they're trying their best. You know, it's still, like, I just hope they can get it better in the future. Caves 2? Caves 2. 2 of diamonds. Pandora's box. I'm actually happy that I mentioned Yelp, because it gives me a chance to get on a soapbox again. Because Kate and I were having lunch yesterday, after we bought some magic cards. I have to admit, we went down, we bought some magic cards, and then we had some lunch. And you know what? We bought a few Cons of Tarkir booster packs, and in one of my Cons of Tarkir booster packs, I got a Polluted Delta. It's a Pain Land from the Cons of Tarkir set for Island and Swamp, and the card itself is valued at like $24. So I was like, you know, lunch is on me, and then I spent the entire proceeds of that card, which we still own, so we just paid for it twice. Yeah, we'll take left hand. And we were sitting next to, it was a young group of people, and they were talking, and the one guy was very excited. He was very animated. He was the star of the show, you could tell. Man, shot speed downgrade is scary here, but a Tears upgrade is great. I'm assuming Krampus will die pretty quickly. And he was telling a story about how his friend, like, ordered something from a restaurant, and he was offended. They went to brunch together. He was offended by the meal. I'm not going to tell you what made him offended by the meal. Suffice to say, it is possible to misinterpret the menu item that he received as perhaps a little bit racist. However, he ordered the menu item. This is the important part of the story, okay? He ordered what he ordered, and then when it arrived, the way the story was told to me was his friend said, "This is the most racist shit I've seen in my life." And while in the restaurant, he wrote like a negative review on Yelp of this restaurant as a joke to be like, "Yeah, check it out, man. This is fucked up. Like, I can't believe they would do this shit to me." And I was like, "Oh man, you are not as clever as you think you are." Also, that's really shitty. To just, like, concoct your own narrative about this as a joke and then, like, porthole this local business with your negative Yelp review because they brought out the food that you ordered. Now, admittedly, I was not there. Yeah, we'll take this because it's awful. I was not there for the whole story, okay? So it's possible there's more to the story than meets the eye, but none of you were there for this story either. So, you know, I shouldn't say rest assured, but try to resist the temptation of automatically jumping to anybody's side because of what you've heard in the story, which I think is, you know, a danger in a situation like this when you're dealing with a sensitive issue. But the way that it was told by his friend that was there was like, oh my god, Jeremy's so funny. He totally fucked up this local business for no reason. And I was like, oh, support your community, dog. That's a real shitty thing to do. I actually, even if I knew the name of the restaurant, I would not tell you. But they didn't mention the name, which gives me hope, because it makes me think that maybe this whole story is just made up, and they wanted to seem clever, and they didn't fuck up. You know, there's just some poor dude's been working as, like, a software engineer for, like, 30 years, and is like, my dream is to save enough money to open a brunch place. And then he finally, you know, he's been ignoring his retirement plan for years in order to do it, and then he finally does it in his opening day, and the one guy's like, hey, I'll have this thing, and he's like, oh, I can't wait to, like, give you the food that you ordered. And then all of a sudden, you know, 1-star review on Yelp, the store owner is a bigot, and then all his dreams go up in smoke so that you can get, like, you know, 4 Instagram shares or something like that. It's a sad thought. I hope it didn't happen, but at the time I was like, when I was like 15, I totally could have seen myself doing that, being like, this will be funny. There's this site, like Rate My Teachers. Everyone's probably familiar with Rate My Teachers, and I should, well, if you're not, Rate My Teachers, Rate My Prof, etc. is like this site that is designed for high school students, college students, you know, etc., to rate their teachers and professors. And it does serve a purpose, especially in college. You know, you have a choice of professors to take many courses with. Some professors, you know, they're not created equal. Some professors are great orators. They're good lecturers, you know. They're very helpful in the class. Maybe, and, you know, I'm not saying that this is necessarily valid, but maybe you want to take the professor whose class is easier. That's the kind of thing that Rate My Professors allows you to see, right? In high school, at least depending on the size of your high school, you might not have a choice. But I had friends of mine that used to go on there and just, like, they'd be mad at a teacher and they would just leave, like, the shittiest reviews. And you'd be like, oh, man. At the time, you're like, yeah, fuck him. This teacher's, like, wasting my time. Wasting my valuable time right now that I could be using to do anything else. But then, you know, when I was teaching myself, I'm like, oh, that would crush me, man. Spent 8 hours a day making relatively, you know, most people agree, underappreciated wages at least. Come home, you know, you're doing it for the kids, and you look at the reviews, and they're like, you know, Miss Jennifer, that's probably not a last name, but you get the idea. Like, Miss Jennifer's a shithead. She's stupid. She should just stay home. Like, that shit would just break my heart, man. I don't think you realize it, and like, not you. You don't, you meaning general here. I don't think people realize it when they're younger, but, you know, adults are fragile, man. So are kids, there's no question about it, but adults are still fragile, you know. You don't get it all figured out. You still get, you still feel that pain, you know. I am very glad that wasn't paralysis, at least. And, you know, you can say that they're like 14, 15, 13 sometimes years old, and that might change it, you know, but still, it hurts. You should be nice to your teachers, okay? It's not cool to be not nice to your teachers. You know what's cool? Paying your taxes and saving enough money to cover your means. You know what's cool? Eating 5 to 10 servings of vegetables a day. You know what's cool, kids? Some good old-fashioned paper magic. Oh, that's a dangerous habit, Northern Lion. You're gonna put these people in the poorhouse. Okay, are we guppy now? Like, we have hairball, we got paw, and now we have, head. I should go back for the, unicorn stump. Absolutely. Well, I mean, like I said, we're gonna win this run. That's not a question. I remember I have another story about myself that will paint me out to be a terrible person. Allow me to take my coffee first and relish the last few moments of you thinking I'm a good guy. It's all wrapped up in ego, man. I swear I'm gonna... I guess I should get rid of left hand here. When I think I was 12. It doesn't justify it, but it does put it into context. When I was 12, we had a substitute teacher once. I was never the kind of person who was necessarily mean to substitute teachers, but I didn't really get in real trouble, but I talked in class a lot. So I would get sent out of class on occasion, and one day I got sent out of class by the substitute teacher. It was the day of the substitute teacher. It will live forever in infamy. And then I was mad because I was like, how dare she doesn't even know me? How could she send me out of this class? Basically what it boiled down to is like, my feelings are hurt and I'm embarrassed and I want to find a way to take it out on her. I wouldn't have done anything terrible. However, later in that day, there was like a teacher's appreciation assembly. So what it was basically going to be is like one kid from the class was going to come down and they were going to get a flower from the principal and then give it to their teacher. It's kind of like a expression of goodwill and say like, you know, hey, thanks for being my teacher. I know you do hard work, blah, blah, blah. But not blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's a valuable thing. I totally understand the purpose of it now. But this substitute teacher, she chose the wrong dude to tango with on that day. Because she was like, as a joke, she's like, Ryan, why don't you go down there? Like, you've been misbehaving today. Wouldn't it be funny to, like, you know, have you be the student who does this? So I went and got the flower. And then when she asked me for the flower, when I got back to her, I just threw it on the ground. And then, like, walked back to class. And then, at the time, I thought it was hilarious, and I was, like, the ultimate badass. But later, my teacher, who I had, like, a good rapport with, came back the next day, and she was like, you know, like, a substitute teacher called me yesterday, and she was crying because of what you did. And I was like, oh. I mean, at the time, I was still indignant about it. I was still, like, you know, I'm a badass, and she deserved it. How dare she try to, like, disrespect me? But now I'm like, man. And, like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 times a year, I, like, lay awake in bed, and I'm like, that was really shitty. I wish that I could erase that from my, my memory. Not from my memory. I wish that I could go back in time and have not done it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But, yeah, feel free. You know, that's 12-year-old Northern Lion deserves judgment for that. All I'm saying is that if you're of that certain age right now, you know, you may or may not end up in situations kind of similar to that. And it happens, you know, it happens when you're older as well. It's not just like that, you know. When you're emotionally compromised, you make decisions that are not always the best decisions to be making. Paralysis. Wow, we took the right pill in that one room where we could have been hit by paralysis. So, you know, hopefully this story serves as a little bit of a cautionary tale for you to think twice when you're in those situations. You know, personal growth is important. I've said it many times. If you don't look back on your actions, some of your actions, and you know, have a little bit of regret, I think that's a sign of a lack of personal growth. You know, whenever people say that they have no regrets, that's fucked up. Who are you trying to impress? You're not gonna convince me you've literally never done anything wrong in your life. And then people will be like, yeah, but everything I've done wrong has been a learning lesson. Okay, let's follow this logic through to its conclusion. Sure, by being an asshole to my teacher, I learned not to be an asshole to my teacher. But if I hadn't been an asshole to my teacher, I don't need to learn that lesson to begin with, you know? It's like, I only needed to learn the lesson because I was being a shithead. It doesn't, there's no, like, whatever. Gimpy, I'm only going to take one, because without being able to see what those other deals are, we could run into problems. You really should be able to look back on your life every few years and be like, I was an idiot. And then, like, the first time you do that, you'll be like, man, I'm glad I'm smarter now. Every subsequent time, you'll be like, wow, as I'm doing this, knowing that I'm an idiot, I will, in 5 years from now, look back on the exact situation I'm in right now and think that me presently is an idiot. That's the great moment of truth, is the realization that at any given moment in time, you are always a dumber version of yourself. Let that sink in for a minute. I, speaking right now, am dumb. I am an idiot. I will come to watch this video at some point in my future and think, man, look at this preachy asshole. You know, you didn't have all the answers. And I think that's a very important and sobering realization to have, because it really nips it in the bud when you're thinking about being like a know-it-all or like giving advice to somebody unsolicited. And you're like, wait a minute. Am I an idiot as I say this? And the answer is always yes. And then you, that's not to say never give advice. You know, of course, if it's solicited, that's good. But whenever you think you know better than somebody else, always remember that you are presently the dumbest version of yourself that will ever exist in the future. Put that shit on the Crab Nebula and make it a motivational poster. You will never be dumber than you are at the exact moment that you are right now. That should be an empowering thought, by the way. But it should also give you pause when it comes to some decisions you may make in your life. I don't know what inspired. This is the half a cup of coffee talking. More coffee, and I get in full-on, you know, hey, we're gonna talk about Rebirth strategy nonstop, despite this being a one-run territory. We're in perfect, like, preachy Saturday morning territory here. I like it. We will not lose this run. This is actually one of the stronger runs we've had in recent memory, I think. We suffer a little bit for, yeah, I think it's probably this way. We suffer a little bit for HP, but not very much. We summon so many flies, and the flies deal so much damage. Like, we killed Mom's Heart in one hit. That's not even close to being a contest. But every single enemy is dying in one hit, and we're getting, like, a really nice fly army going. I don't know if we'll be able to kill Isaac in one hit, but I think it's not gonna be very implausible. That could be a Joker card, which would be interesting, at least. Two of spades. Well, it's fine. Good stuff. Okay. And... oh, we did it! It took 2 hits, but we did manage to make it happen. And this is a quick run, considering that we basically did the first 2 floors twice. Not basically, like literally that's what we did. Okay, Fire Mine, Magic Mush, Infestation 2, and Monster Manuel. There's obviously problems, like Fire Mine is going to cause us to take some more damage, but Infestation 2 is going to be amazing, and Magic Mush is going to be great as well, even though it ruins our permanent Polaroid invincibility. I don't really care that much. And you know what? I have to say, Strange Attractor has actually been kind of an all-star for us here. Man, I don't like thinking back. Because you might, well, I do like thinking back. Because for the most part, I was actually a pretty, you know, I was a sensitive boy. I was a compassionate individual. Man, I think back to, like, the shit other kids. And you're going to think that maybe your inclination might be, yeah, other kids, I'm sure, Ryan. But I already told you the story of me being horrible to my substitute teacher for no reason except she embarrassed me. And, you know, I had a bruised ego. So I hope you'll take it at face value here, but, like, kids are so mean to my bus driver, man. It's so sad to think about. This, like, 65-year-old bus driver. You know, maybe he's been doing it his whole life. Maybe he transitioned into it. He's doing it, you know, either out of necessity or because he actually likes kids, and the kids are just treating him like horseshit. And, of course, you know, you're 13, 14 years old. You're not going to stand up for the bus driver on a bus full of your peers, even though, as an adult, that's, like, the super obvious thing to do. Man. You know, it's hard to be a kid. It's hard to be around kids as well. Literally, like, the second day I was teaching in Korea, a kid just punched me in the nutsack. Now, I don't know if that's just... he might have been a little unhinged that day. I'm just saying, you know? I don't know where this video went. It doesn't matter. It was fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you liked it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.